Hi. So in this video, we will be talking about the difference between simple past and present perfect. So let's take a look. So we said before that English sees the past in two different ways. So we see it like this. So there's a completed action with a specific time, and English uses simple past for that. Then another way is this, a completed action with no specific time, and for that we use present perfect. So that's the theory. Now we're going to talk about more specifics about what this means. So we know that English sees the past in two different ways, yeah? Now, another thing that we need to know about is that there are time words in English that English speakers think are specific, and time words that English speakers think are not specific. Now, when I'm saying this, I don't mean that English speakers actually think about this, but it's just part of their mind. So if you walked up to an English speaker on the street and said, "Hey, what's a specific time word?" they wouldn't know what you're talking about. It's just psychological. So here, let's talk about specific times and non-specific times to an English speaker. So we know that simple past uses specific time words. So let's talk about what some of those are. So one specific time word would be yesterday. Another would be something like this, last plus a time. So last plus a time. So for example, last week, last night, last year, all of those are specific time words in English. When we say those words, automatically, an English speaker will use simple past. Here's another one. We could say in plus a time. So if you're talking about like the morning or the afternoon or the spring, for example, you would use simple past. So I saw my friend in the afternoon. We're talking about the afternoon in the past. For an English speaker, that is a specific time. Another way another time idea that is specific for an English speaker would be something like this: earlier this month, or earlier this week, earlier today. For an English speaker, if you use that time word, you will automatically use simple past. So another thing that we should know about this is this: time clauses in the past. So let's call this past time clauses. So for example, if you were talking about like this, before I came here. So before I came here, to an English psychology, an English mind, that is going to always give you a simple past idea. So all of these are specific times to an English mind. So let's talk about some present perfect time words. So these time words are non-specific. They don't tell you an exact time like these time words do. So here are a few of them. So ever would be a non-specific time. Never would be a non-specific time. Recently would be a non-specific time. Lately would be a non-specific time. There are more, and we will study those soon. But for this video, what we need to know is that present perfect time words like ever, never, recently, lately are non-specific. So here's a couple of examples. If I ask you this question, have you ever been to Montana? What I'm asking is any time in your life, very non-specific. So ever is a present perfect time word. You could also say this, no, I have never been to Montana. So that means in my whole life, from the time I was born until now, this is something that hasn't happened. So very non-specific. Recently and lately, these words mean the same thing. They mean a time close to now. So for example, we could say something like this. I have recently learned that that the Earth spins around the sun. Maybe you're a child. So, or we could say something like this with lately. I have gotten a new car lately. So, so these are non-specific times, and they go with present perfect because present perfect is all about a completed action with no specific time. So now let's talk a little bit more deeply about how we use present perfect and simple past. So I know that, so as we said before in the other video, there's always a specific time idea connected to a simple past sentence. So I know that sometimes in things like grammar books, you will see like an example like this. The children were very happy. And they don't give you any time. It's just an example sentence. For example, you could also say, like, he walked down the street. Those are good examples of using past tense verbs, but it would be very strange if you just said the sentence, the children were very happy, with no other idea. It would be very unnatural. So the idea for this would be something like this. The children were very happy when? Maybe on Sunday. So whenever we have a simple past sentence and there's no time word, your mind automatically kind of asks, when did this happen? So yes, so the children were very happy, and the idea here, if there's no time word in the sentence, the idea comes from the conversation. We'll practice this more. So now let's talk about the way that English uses simple past and present perfect. We're going to talk about the children were very happy idea a couple of times. So, how English uses simple past. So we use simple past to talk about what happened yesterday or last week, etc. So we use the simple past when we are explaining an event that happened at a specific time. Yesterday, last week, last year. Okay. So now let's talk about how English uses present perfect. So English uses present perfect to do a few things. We use present perfect to talk about events in our lives in general. We also use them to talk about things we have done at some point in the past. So one way of thinking about it would be like this. We use present perfect to kind of make a list of things that we have done in our life. So here's a few examples of that. So in my life, I've done many things. One of the things I have done is visit Argentina. So I could say this: I have visited Argentina. I'm thinking about my life. What have I done with my life? Well, visiting Argentina is one thing that happened in my life, so I could just say I have visited Argentina. No time word because it doesn't matter. I'm just talking about a general thing that happened in my life. Here's another one. I have gone to college. This is something that I have done. The time doesn't matter. I'm just making a list of my experiences. Here's another idea. So here, I have hitchhiked through the western United States. So this person is just saying in general something I've done in my life. There we have it. So, when we talk about when we use simple past, we're talking about what happened at a specific time. When we use present perfect, we're talking about all of these things. So, stuff that happened in our life in general, making a list about things we have completed in life. So, so those are kind of two different ways of seeing the past, like we've talked about before. So one very natural way that English speakers use present perfect and simple past kind of together would be like this. So as we said up here, present perfect is about saying something general about your life. So so in this example, this person could say a general fact about their life. I have been to Washington, D.C. So, like we saw here with I've visited Argentina, I've gone to college. Here, I've been to Washington, D.C. We don't know when this happened because we're just saying a general statement about life. So, often we will say something like this. I have been to Washington, D.C. And in a conversation, someone might say, I have been to Washington, D.C. Their friend might say, oh, really? When did you go there? Then the answer could be, I went there in the spring. So here's a pattern in English. A general idea with present perfect and a specific idea with simple past. So that's the difference between present perfect and simple past. Present perfect, general, no time. Simple past, more detailed and specific time. So in my experience, present perfect can cause some trouble for students, and here is two ways that present perfect and simple past can get confused. So trouble spot number one is mixing present perfect with specific time ideas. So here is an example. So I have been to Seattle yesterday. All right, now here we've got yesterday. That's a specific time. So we want to use simple past with that, not present perfect. Present perfect with yesterday, I have been to Seattle yesterday. It sounds very unnatural, and we don't want to do that. So if you want to talk about doing something yesterday, you don't want to use have been, but you want to say instead, I went to Seattle yesterday. Okay, so specific time word, simple past. Another example of this would be this right here. So she has become a police officer last year. So the idea here is that last year she got a job as a police officer, which is good. However, we're saying last year, so we don't want to say has become. Instead, we would want to say this. We would say she became a police officer last year. Last year. So watch out for this. If you have a specific time word, use simple past. Yesterday, I went to. Last year, became. So that's important to remember. Another thing that I've seen is this. Trouble spot number 2 would be using present perfect too much. So let's look at the idea of the children were happy, right? So before, the children were very happy, and the idea there is on Sunday. We've got the specific time, they were very happy. Now what does this mean? We know that the children had a great time on Sunday. Maybe they went to the park, we don't know, but they were very happy on this day. So we know the kids had a great time on Sunday. But now let's look at the same idea, children being happy, and let's talk about using that with present perfect. So this sentence here, the children have been happy. Now, we know that we shouldn't say on Sunday with that idea, because when we use present perfect, there's no exact time. So maybe we could just say this, the children have been happy. Grammatically, using only the grammar, this is a correct sentence. We've got the subject, have been, and happy, fine. But the meaning for this is very strange, and this is a very unnatural sentence. Here's why. Because present perfect is used for general ideas, general experiences in our lives. So if somebody says the children have been happy, what that means is this. We know they were happy at least once in their lives. So that's kind of a strange idea to talk about children being happy. If you just said the children have been happy, I would kind of look at you like, I'm sorry, because to my ears, what that means is the children have had the experience of happiness sometime in their life. So for ideas like this, you would want to use simple past with a time word, because present perfect, remember, is about general events, not about specific events like this. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful. Of course, if you have any questions, you can contact me and I will respond as quickly as I can. All right, thank you everybody. Bye.